Hi, welcome back to the Tori Nook Talk Show, where real conversations meet real success. I'm Tori Nook. I'm the CEO and founder of Anchor Retail. I'm an entrepreneur, wife, and mom of three. In each episode, I feature founders, entrepreneurs, wellness leaders, and personal development voices who've built their successful careers and their lives with intention, intuition, and a strong sense of who they are. We talk about all the decisions that shape a life, the moments that test you, and the habits and mindsets that keep you moving forward. My goal is to learn how people create success on their own terms and to share those insights with all my listeners. And today's guest is a friend of mine and a very smart and along with beautiful woman that I invest with too. And her name is Natasha Falconi. And Natasha is the founder of Falcone Capital, a privately held real estate investment firm in which she focuses on acquiring and operating multifamily properties across South Florida. With a disciplined approach and a long-term vision, Falcone Capital focuses on Class B and Class C assets with in-place cash flow and clear opportunities for value creation. Natasha brings more than 2 decades of leadership experience across accounting, developing, banking, real estate, and her background includes working with the big three accounting firm. She also served as a controller and she was also president of a national development company. She also serves as a chairwoman on a Florida-based community bank. And what makes her story so compelling is the way she views real estate. And she looks at it as more than just a financial vehicle. She sees it as a tool for transformation by creating stable returns while also improving the day-to-day lives of the residents and strengthening the neighborhoods that she's buying properties in. And she brings thoughtful ownership to all the communities that she's owns and operates her multifamily units in. She approaches every investment with a focus on long-term impact, dignity, stability, and opportunity. She lives in Coral Gables, Florida with her husband, Arthur, and her two sons and her little dog. It's a mini Aussie named Ace. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Wow, what an intro. I love it.
Well, that's a nutshell version, but at least we got like the main
I love
points,
it.
right?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm looking forward to our chat.
Yeah. Um, you grew up in South Florida, right? Or were you born somewhere else?
No, I was born in New York, but I was so young when I came here and that I consider myself a native
A native, yeah.
Miami now. Yeah.
So then where'd you go to college?
Here in Miami.
Oh,
Here in Miami. I never left here. I stayed. I actually didn't even know that it was an option for me to leave Miami. So I studied here and I went to FIU, got my master's in tax at FIU,
okay.
and just started working. I've been working since I'm 14 years old. So it's
Wow.
been
So
a
what did you
journey.
start doing at 14 then?
Anything in an office.
Okay.
Anything in an office, from filing to coffee. And actually, once I got into high school, I worked in the proof department. Some of your listeners might know what I'm talking about. The proof department of a bank, the bank that doesn't exist anymore. And what the proof department is back then when you would write a check, they would be batched, they would be helicoptered to the bank, and they would go through this big machine, and you had to type in the numbers, like whatever. If the check was $100, you'd have to type in so that it would encode it in the bottom.
Oh, wow. That's like really labor intensive.
Oh yeah, it was great because you got paid by the piece. So it was 10 cents a piece or something like that. So I got really fast at a
I
10
bet.
piece.
Awesome.
Lots of fun.
Well, what did you wind up doing like right out of college then?
Well, when I finished college, that's when I went to work for one of the big three accounting firms. And that is where I worked in the tax department. So that's where I was placed, basically, because you're assigned to a department.
Okay.
And I was assigned to the real estate tax department. So that is the place that I actually figured out that people own shopping centers. People own, like, it's actually like I was doing tax returns for family offices and different things. And I'm like, what is this? Like the local Publix
Interesting.
is owned by this person. How is this? So it was an
Mm,
incredible learning experience and opened my eyes completely to everything real estate. The nice layer that what I didn't know was happening is that I was also learning tax planning with real estate, how to navigate that. And it was all happening organically as I was starting my career at that firm.
that's fascinating. So then how many years were you at the accounting company
I
before you
was
went to work for
there
the developer?
I was there almost I think it was almost 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And then I went to go work for the shopping center owner developer
Hmm.
in which was one of my clients.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I started out as a controller because I was
Hmm.
transferring my skills. So it was great because I was using my accounting skills, understood the tax planning, and
Hmm.
was able to help with all of the family planning of their family, which was fabulous. I went from being the controller to the president of the company, and I was there about almost 18 years. And that's when I decided it was time to build for my family.
For Falcone Capital. So
For
what year was that? So how many years have you been had
So
Falcone Capital?
there was a little gap because I decided that I was going to take some time off. I've been working my whole life. I worked
Right.
through college, and I'm like, you know what? I'm taking a year off and I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to wake up. I'm
Awesome.
going to go to Starbucks. I'm going to go. That
Yeah.
didn't last. It's not my
Yeah.
personality.
Well, how old were your kids then? Your
By now, they were in high school, I believe.
oh, okay.
They were in high school. Now, I was very fortunate in every situation or every job, if you will, that I
Mhm.
had. I was able to be a mom and work. Was it hard? Absolutely. But I did have the privilege of being able to be at all of their events. Yes, I was working at 10 o'clock at night after they were asleep,
Right.
but I never had that pressure of not being able to be present for them, which
Well,
was
that's interesting
great.
that you bring that up because so you were obviously you're an entrepreneur at 1099 now, but when you were working, you were a W-2 employee,
Yeah.
right? And so how did with a salary, how did I mean, I know you work for a family office. Like, do you feel like because you worked for a family office that were more understanding that you're a mom of two kids, like they didn't want to
Mm,
lose you per se, and they were like, "Oh,
I
fine."
I don't. I just think that the owner of the company understood the meaning of family, and
Mhm.
I delivered what I needed to deliver, even if I
Okay.
was physically not there during lunch because I was going to the school or whatever it is that we were
Right.
doing. I was still delivering. So either early in the morning. I mean, I'm the kind
Mhm.
that would show up at the office at 5 if I had to,
That's awesome they let you do
or
it because then you
yeah,
deliver.
and
Because
because
some
I
don't
you
care.
do that's true, but you did what you needed to do.
Right.
So but going back to so after I took that quick time off in
Mhm.
2019 is when I actually opened, said, okay, I'm doing this, and started Falcone Capital and began
Okay.
investing in multifamily assets.
Nice. So what's a part of your story, people don't really see that explains how you became the woman behind Falcone Capital?
Wow, that's a fabulous question.
'Cause, you
And
know
so,
you didn't just wake up one day and decide it, like, something had to have been building.
yeah, actually, I never knew I was an entrepreneur. I
Mhm.
was, but I was an entrepreneur for someone else's business. I
Okay.
never realized that that's what I was doing.
Okay.
And I never knew, I was never trained or knew or had the benefit of either requesting equity or being offered equity. I was a hard worker, W-2, and it was, I don't know, I guess time was
Mhm.
like, okay, how do I create that for my
Mhm.
family? How do we, and then I think in a lot of just conversations with my husband and figuring out that I wanted a different kind of grind, if you will. I didn't want that constant. And I can't say that it had anything to do with the children and the family. It was more like internal for me,
Right.
that
Okay.
I was like, what can I do to like create something like fabulous and big and impactful? And I didn't know what it looked like. I had no
Right.
idea. And I'll explain and it'll come full circle. I said, what can I do? What can I? And that's when I started. Well, I know real estate. I understand it from all the different aspects. I know it being the chair of a bank. I know what it looks like for the finance side. I understand because I've been in this career for, 18
Hmm.
plus 5, all of that time. I
Right.
know it because, and I enjoy it in general. So I decided to get into real estate, or to do real estate as and I didn't know what I wanted to do.
So
Meaning,
when
was I
you
going to,
quit, did you not know exactly
yes,
what you were doing
I
yet?
knew I was going to do real estate, and I
Okay.
knew that, I had the support of my husband to do that. I had enough money saved up that
Hmm.
I was going to go buy something, but I didn't know what.
Right.
And so then I started looking at houses, and I started then looking at duplexes. And then I'm like, should I buy a building? What should I do? And a piece of advice that
Hmm.
I would give your listeners is figure out what you want to do. Because what would I do? I would speak to brokers and I want anything in South Florida. Well, how far is that going to get you?
Right.
I'm like, I am not speaking to this woman again.
Right.
Anything in South Florida. What is that?
You need to
So
be
I
specific with
really need to be
asset
specific.
class and towns. Yeah.
Towns, asset class, returns, what it is that you're looking for. And I started, honing in on what I wanted to do. I finally figured out, fast forward to the first building that I purchased, that I really wanted to invest in a way that I could improve. Like, I could buy a building that maybe an owner had held for a long time, that it was great when they bought it, but now potentially deteriorated. And I
Hmm.
could bring, let's say, do that circle around one more time and revitalize it
Yeah.
for the community. Well, so I did that.
Hmm.
And as I was doing that, for that first time that we renovated a unit and I moved someone moved from an unrenovated to a renovated unit, I realized, oh my God, I lived in the community and similar buildings as the one that we're renovating, but they weren't renovated and we had to fix things ourselves. And I'm
Hmm.
like, it kind of all came together for me that this is why I was doing that. But when I
Hmm.
decided that, I didn't realize how personal it was.
It's like your subconscious was talking to you and like
I
leading you the
think
whole
so.
time,
That's exactly
which is
right.
interesting.
And so then that became my official mission, even though it wasn't, I didn't know. It became
Right.
my official mission. And then I
Hmm.
just started going deep in those communities that are very similar to where I live.
And I do love your story because, obviously, and, there's so many people and wonderful people and to invest with across the country. But I like how, I don't know if it's because you're a woman. I don't know if it's because how you grew up, but I always love the fact that you're not just here to make money. I mean, that's your, of course, whole goal while you're working to support yourself and build wealth for your family. But I also like the fact that even you pitch yourself, because I know the types of properties that you buy, that you're helping the community, because these are people who might be first time they can even afford their own apartment, right?
That's
Or new to even the country.
hmm
And, being in such a diverse place like South Florida. And, it means so much to people that they have a landlord that cares. I mean, I think that's why you don't have so much turnover because you fix the places. I mean, people, of course, leave if they progress or move or whatever. But, the way you redo everything from inside and out, it's like, why leave? When they don't, when
we
you
you
just
know
have to worry about
we do
minor
our
repairs.
we love it. I mean, we love it when they leave for certain reasons, right? They're either buying their own home, or they've
Right.
grown out of the unit and they have a bigger family. And also, we also work to keep them in our you know
Portfolio.
portfolio, if you
Yeah.
will. So because
Mhm.
we have studios, we have one bedrooms, we have two bedrooms, and they go from asset to asset. And in many cases, they just don't want to leave us because of the attention that we do give our residents.
Right. And you get a lot of referrals from it too
Absolutely.
because of the
Absolutely.
quality, which is
Yes.
not always the norm. And I think, like in any business, when you provide value, quality, and you're an attentive business owner, that's where all the referrals build up
That's
with,
exactly right.
with your owner sales or whatever.
Yeah.
Being a leader for so many years, I mean, you did work at great companies before you
Mhm.
started your own. Like, what were the biggest building blocks that really shape how you lead today, considering you're the leader now, the ultimate leader here?
Yeah. I think the most important factor is people.
Okay.
How the tools that you give them, the training that you give them, I
Mm-hmm.
believe that how you make them part of a team and you help them
Mm-hmm.
grow in their roles. Um, so they feel like they're making an impact in their lives for themselves. I think that's like the biggest, I believe that's like the most important things because business is business. But if you're helping other people along and helping them grow, I mean, throughout my career, I have taken many individuals that, started at the front desk and moved into really, more important roles because they had the interest and because they had the drive and teaching is a big part of what
Mm-hmm.
I like to do.
I love that because it's an interesting answer. Going back to again, like it's like takes a village,
Yeah.
whether it's people who work for you, people who, are renting from you. I mean, that's what builds the business
Hmm.
is treating them right and boosting them up, right? Um, why did like South Florida multifamily, like especially like the class, it's interesting, like you chose class B and C versus
Hmm.
A. So that's a twofold question. Do you only invest in South Florida and why did you not look at class A assets? And
I only invest in South Florida because I know the
Mhm.
market very well.
Okay.
And so I know the specifics of the markets that I'm of the specific of the micro market that I'm in within the whole,
Hmm.
I know very well.
Okay.
So my focus is to build a portfolio in those areas all close together. I picked it at first because value add always, a potential for 2019, 2000, 2020, um, assuming that you bought right.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is that you financed right,
Okay.
equity right. You have and you still hold it today. You have a great asset. And why? So why South Florida? Because of what I know and because I live there. And if you give me the name of another state and another area, I won't be able to tell you what's going on in that market. And
Right.
something might get by me. And I would never want to put myself or my investors in a position where I'm investing in something that looks great on paper, but is that really
Right.
what's happening boots on the ground?
Right.
Everything is 30 to 40 minutes, depending on traffic, away from my
Okay.
house.
Okay.
So
That's
that's kind
great.
of like I look at the assets that I look at are about an hour away from me.
Okay.
So max.
Max. Okay.
So
That makes
that's
sense.
so
Hmm.
that's kind of what and I know there's a lot of people that are very successful not investing in their markets, but for me, really knowing the market is a big key, I think, to the success of what we're doing.
Right. And it gives you a comfort zone too, because you know
Yeah.
it. And the trade, and I'm sure this goes even beyond, just looking at the numbers and the trade area that you're looking in within an hour radius. But I'm sure it also has to do with probably your tradesmen too, or women that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
outsourcing. You know that they're already there. You just add them to another project, or it's a referral from someone else you already know that's in the market. I mean, what other factors are you looking at other than just numbers and that the fact that it's in South Florida?
I look at so for different, the different buckets as far as the team is concerned.
Hmm.
Um, I have a great team of vendors that will respond quickly
Okay.
and be very respond quickly and understand what emergencies mean to me. And they have, in all aspects, the electrician, the plumber, our contractors, even our maintenance team, they understand the level of service that we're providing. or the effort that we put into the level of service we try to provide to our residents.
Right.
And they're on board with that. We also pay them right away. And we
Okay.
also, so that's a big part of it too.
It's a good point. I always say pay your bills on time.
Pay your bills on time. Pay your, especially in this business, pay your vendors fast.
Yeah. Because they'll do
And
stuff
that puts you at the
quickly.
top of the list and all every time.
Yeah.
So that's
100%.
like that bucket. As far as what I look for in assets, I look for like good bones, good flow in the units, but I don't care what they look like as long as the numbers make sense. We can fix
Okay.
it. We can make it better. And the area near schools, because many of our residents might not have automobiles. So
Oh.
near schools, near transportation, close to infrastructure, near a grocery store. So those are the things that I look for when I'm choosing to invest in a property.
Yes, those are all really, really, good points, because especially a lot of the places you're investing in South Florida is sidewalks too. Like you don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere. You want to be
Mm-hmm.
where everyone could get to work, get to school, walk.
Correct.
I think those are some things like people don't think about, but if you ever notice, even when they're by schools or colleges, I mean, what apartment isn't fully leased usually
Mm-hmm.
or close to it when they're in trade
Yes,
areas like that?
that's true.
Well, with every successful person, there's always a chapter that tests you. So, what's the season in your life or career that really stretched you out?
I think as far as stretching me out
Like, what did it build
was
in you, like your test period? There's the hard periods that you thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then it wound up being better.
I think, wow, you're on fire with these questions. This is so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I mean, I like to emphasize like nobody's perfect here.
Yeah.
Not everyone's a millionaire sitting on the on the show.
Yeah, exactly. And not everything is like an Instagram post exactly
Yeah.
all the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I were to say what tested me, I believe when I was in corporate America
Hmm.
and I was learning to be a mom and I wanted to be a great mother, I wanted to be an excellent executive. I
Right.
wanted to grow in my career. I wanted to be present. And I probably, if I would take time to think about it, could come up with 10 other things I wanted to do wonderful. I wanted to be a good wife. I wanted to have a great family. Today I look back and I feel like so blessed that I have a wonderful family. I have an incredible husband that's very supportive. I
Yeah.
have two, men as two sons that like being with their parents. So
Oh, yeah.
fast forward to today and it's amazing. But while I was in it,
Hmm.
I almost felt many times that I didn't know how I was going to do it all.
Right. No,
And
I
I
go
think
through that
that
still.
like testing me in that sense, I look at it differently today because I'm a high achiever and I want to do, and I say to myself, how am I going to do it all? But I think those elements, as time went by, I realized, okay, maybe I did, like, you get little signs. Oh, maybe I did this right.
Right.
Oh, wait, like, look at, here's the thing. I am the kind of person that I am changing this, but I don't celebrate the wins. I'm like, okay, we did good. What's next?
Right.
But when I go back and I look at all the wins that I had within all that adversity, I'm like, today I'm saying, wow, like I did that. Like
Yeah.
that's like this is not so bad. This is pretty good.
Right.
Today I'm getting the signs of, or the little windows to all of that effort. And I think that was probably the most trying time when, the kids, not when they were baby, but
Right.
when they were in that middle area where I
Yeah.
really wanted to be there and I had to juggle all these different things.
Right. It's the worst part about being a working mom, I think,
Yeah.
honestly. It's so stressful.
But then the flip side is what an example you're being as well.
Right.
Like what an example to build a business to show your kids what's possible.
Right. It always seems like every time I would ask my kids, "Oh, do you want me to not to work? Do you want me to stay home?" They're like, "No, we love this nice life." Like, I think they
Yeah.
must realize they were just in school a lot
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Get pays for private school, all these other fun things,
Yeah.
activities and sports. But it is a lot of pressure. And it's awesome that your husband's so supportive because mine is too. And it's just it makes a massive difference, um, to know that you're held up with a partner that's going to help you at home and with the kids as best as they can, right? And you don't have that pressure of having to quit like a lot of women do. And so now that you're in your own leadership role, owning your own business, which is it's nerve wracking because, as you know, I mean, you have bills to pay, you have employees or vendors you don't want to lose, right? You want to make sure everything's profitable. What did you have? Because there's always things we have to overcome when we become our own entrepreneur. Like, did you have to overcome? Did you have a lot of fear, doubt, perfectionist issues, like unnecessary pressure like you put on yourself in corporate America, regarding, am I raising my kids right? Am I being a good executive? Like, what were the different factors that came in when you're
Oh,
sold?
the different factors were now, fear, because I'm making all the decisions and the buck
Hmm.
absolutely stops with me. Even though
Right.
I was in a leadership role, I was in ownership before.
Yeah.
Now I'm ownership and the leadership role. And when you start a business, as you know, you're a, one woman band. So you're doing everything. And I'm like, am I doing the right thing? And then when you're a perfectionist,
Hmm.
which is a symptom that you have to overcome
Oh yeah, big
because
time.
80% done by somebody else is 100% awesome.
Right. Right.
Get stepping away from the perfectionism,
Yeah.
the fear still creeps in.
Right.
I sign an offer for a property and there's still fear. It's like, did I do the right thing? Yes, I analyze it to, am I analyzing things to death? All of that still happens. And as I believe my business has grown, the
Hmm.
time that I stay in that space has shrunk,
Right.
but it still creeps up. It
Right.
still absolutely creeps up. You just have to remember, like, why not? You can do this.
Right. Right. That's right. And that was one of the things I was going to ask. That's one of the things I'm asking you next is how, what was like one of the hardest earned lessons that actually helped shape your confidence? Because this is ballsy what you're doing. There's not too many women running around out there by themselves that are GPs. I mean, there just aren't.
That's true. I wish there were more of us, but
Right.
you're right. There
Well,
isn't.
that's
There
we're all
isn't.
advocating for it. That's why
We're
we're,
all
we're
of us. We
talking.
have a fabulous group of women, that are absolutely advocating for this. Starting with the leader of our mission, which is
Yeah,
Beth Azor.
correct. Correct. That's right.
But what I don't even know. I can't even explain why. It's just like, why not? If you were doing it for somebody else, why not do it for you? Because if you think about it, you're looking at deals, you're running a business, you're improving operations, why, if you've done it and you understand the process, is it scary to do it on your own? What happens if I fail? I
Right.
start again. I already started at zero once before. That
True.
means I can do it.
That's true. Um, when you're looking at investments, what is like your bottom line for a return? Like, what were we talking about earlier? Like, what are you looking for?
I think as far as returns, I think it depends. I think it depends on, everyone asks me, when you buy a property, what cap rate are you looking for? Well,
Hmm.
I've bought properties at a 3 cap that I turned
Really?
into a 7
Hmm.
because I knew the potential, that spread that was there
Okay,
in the property. I also believe a long-term hold looks very different than being a flipper.
that's a
If
good
you,
point. Let's talk about that.
if you're holding for an extended period of time,
Hmm.
and so I underwrite all of my deals between 7 and 10 years because I am a long-term holder of real estate. It's something that I discuss with all of my investors up front. If you're looking for a general partner that is just going to continue to flip properties, yes, sometimes that's great for high returns, but it's not sustainable.
Oh,
Because you can get a high return on this property, but how do you replicate that, and how do you replicate that? I believe that long term hold You buy, you improve, you refinance, you pull some of your capital out. What is the trick there? The capital you're taking out, you don't go spend it on a vacation. You take that capital out and you put it on another deal.
Right.
Now you've taken that same capital, you've put it on another deal, you do it on that side, and you keep this one. All of a sudden, you've amassed a portfolio, and you get to the point where you have, eventually have infinity returns if you
Right.
hold on to it long enough.
Right.
Now, you don't just do this with any asset. We have to look at the criteria that we were talking about before. Where is it? Is the market changing? Do you know the market well? Is everything going to be picked up and moved? In Miami, it's a little different, but in other areas, is the market going to be picked up and moved somewhere else? And then you stay with an asset that's no longer as viable as it was. Those are all the things that you need to know to have this long-term vision of investing.
Do you plan to ever sell anything, or is it more like, oh, someone came along and offered me something I couldn't refuse? Or are you really like, I'm holding this like where it's going to go to my kids?
Yes, I'm holding this because I want it to go to my kids and the kids of the people that are investing along with me.
Okay.
But I am not going to say I would never sell, because
Right.
if you
Right.
get an offer that you can't refuse, that's a whole different
Right.
game.
Ball
So
game.
that's a
Right.
whole different situation. And
Right.
and we evaluate the asset on a regular basis to see if it makes sense to sell it,
Okay.
even though the plan is to keep it. But it's
That's a really good
prudent.
point. Right.
You don't just
Especially in
set
a
it and
market like
forget it.
yours where it is just on fire.
Exactly. So
You
you
could
have
be
to
making more
evaluate.
flip selling it out and then just going into a 1031 or something.
I think that it's important to evaluate all of those things.
Right.
So how is it that how I'm thinking about it? Your plan is not to sell. So
Right.
that's like the general plan. But the responsibility to look at it regularly to make sure whether you should or you shouldn't should be evaluated.
Gotcha. I think those are all amazing, points, because I think a lot of people, especially if you're in commercial real estate world, they're always flipping. I mean, nothing's really it's rare you see a long-term hold, versus I think multifamily just even anywhere. It seems like it's more, I mean, what's your opinion? I mean, it just seems like multifamily in general, not just you, is more of like a longer term play.
I can speak to South Florida. There
Mm-hmm.
are like every asset that I have purchased
Mm-hmm.
so far I've purchased from a long-term holder, somebody that's owned it 10, 15, 20 years.
Okay.
So we have that group that of individuals that bought a property and held on to it for a long time. But then we had a period of time in the market where you bought it, everything was exploding, interest rates were at 2-3%. And so the returns seemed way more massive than they were. Those that bought high and had low interest rates and got out made great returns. And you remember that period where you were seeing 20% IRR, 25%. I don't think that's coming back.
Okay.
That's my opinion. I don't think it's coming back. I think everything's going to be more normalized, but that was fabulous. If you timed the market perfectly, if you didn't time the market and you were a flipper, those assets are in trouble now.
Right.
Because their interest rates are way higher than they were. And
Right.
if you're a long-term holder and the market softens a bit, you can ride that wave if you bought right.
True. When, for someone who's wants to build something like meaningful and lasting, what would you want them to remember when the process feels so like it does kind of feel slow and uncertain, especially real estate, because it's not a fast, quick money play, for an investment.
Well, actually, that's probably the key thing. If you're getting into real estate thinking that you are going to make money really quickly, this is the wrong business.
Right. It's 100% wrong.
It's the 100% wrong, because the way, if you look at a graph, it's like slow, and you blink and then it goes like this. But you have this long period of time where it's slow and steady. And that's what you have to be focused on. Knowing that you take one step, you buy a property, you invest passively, you get involved, because that's the other thing. Some people don't want to do what I am doing, which is the day-to-day work. They want
Right.
to invest. But they want to be in the real estate game. So invest
Right.
passively. And that's
Right.
also slow and steady. Still
Correct.
slow and steady. Go in for the long haul. Go in for the long term, and then you'll see how how you will benefit from those returns.
Were you ever, so people who are investing, that's called an LP, limited partner. Um, were you ever an LP before you started your own company? Were
Uh,
you investing in other people's stuff, or did you not
yes,
even do that?
I invested when I decided
Hmm.
to start my own company. I had I had the condo that I lived in when I was single that we owned. I bought
Okay.
another little condo. So, but those are two or three things that I did. But
Okay.
as so I own those myself. So
Right.
in reference to investing with someone else, when I decided to go out on my own, I started talking to other people
Hmm.
that did already what I'm doing, and I
Okay.
invested in a few deals because I wanted to understand how
Oh,
people were doing things.
that's a great idea, especially when you have the money. I agree. I love seeing how, because when you invest, that's another quick good tip is if you're looking to be an LP, a limited partner, I think it's great to invest with 2 to 3 people to see how they operate because the good ones, they all operate the same. Which
Yeah.
which is something you and I talked about, because I unfortunately when I was young, trusted the wrong, we've talked about this, the wrong
Mhm.
people. And, I've never seen numbers, nothing, there's no portal. Like, and I love how you have quarterly reports. It's very professional. You have open book. You have your portal set up, which I think any good GP has an app or a portal for all their investors and they can see what they invested. Everything is documented and all the documents are there too and what they've made. It's real. I'm trying to think, am I missing anything else you're doing? Because it's very you run your company phenomenally, I think.
Well, thank you. And I think the most important part for me of that is the transparency.
Right. Huge.
That
It's a
everyone knows what's going on at all steps.
right.
Because if something goes wrong, report the bad news fast
Yeah.
and talk about how you're going to fix it.
Right.
And when
Right.
things are going right, report it as well. And just make sure that everyone that's investing alongside you is is with you on the journey, on that understands exactly what's going on. And that, so I think, so going back to what you were saying about being an LP, I think
Hmm.
investing with someone else when you're thinking about doing it, if you're thinking about doing it yourself, is a great way to learn. You want to ask a lot of questions and know that you are going to learn, but
Right.
it's a great way to kind of see how and get involved, because everyone should diversify, and you should have real estate investments because that is the way to generational wealth.
Exactly. And going I was thinking about this, like going back to being an LP, when you have a fund, how many people are usually in a fund when you're raising money? Because do you raise money for all of your investments? Like, do you have a fund for all of them or not?
The way I have done it is that every asset has been individual. So
Okay.
I tie up a property, I look at what we're required to raise for the building and any capital that we might invest
Mhm.
in addition to, and then I go out and raise the funds for it asset by asset.
And so and whoever, I mean, one person could give you the full amount, or if they don't, and it's whatever adds up as the number, right, at the end of
Yeah,
the
I
day.
mean, it just
So,
depends on the opportunity. So I
mhm.
have opportunities where I only have four investors. I have another
Right.
opportunity I have one property that is all women, and there's about 10 women in that. I believe about 10 women in that deal. So
Oh,
it
nice.
depends. It depends on the size of the of the purchase and many different factors.
Yeah, and they are all different, and I think that's another thing that women get scared of is they think that they have to have all the money or they have to have enough money to go get the loan themselves, where no, I mean, that's another big part of this conversation too, is to realize that you can raise funds to go put that down
Right.
payment on the property. Obviously, as a GP, you should be putting your own money in because that kind of looks good. That shows that you've got your money where your mouth is, right? I mean, I think a lot of LPs, that's something they should look for too. Um, but you don't have to just stand alone is the point. And I think a lot of people think like they see all these people buying real estate, but they don't realize how many people are
Are
investors
behind it.
behind
Yes.
that.
And then many people don't do anything at all because they think they need millions of dollars to get involved.
Right.
Where you can invest as an LP and get started,
Mhm.
or if you have experience, you can buy a property and have
Right.
others invest alongside you. But you said something very important. I am of the belief that the GPs should have skin in the game.
I'm 100% agree with you. 100%.
And so I know many people don't, and everyone has their own
Mhm.
strategy, but I invest in all my deals
Right.
because I believe that it's important that you see that not only did I tie up the property and bought the property because I believed in it, but I believe it
Right.
in so much that my money is standing side by side with yours in that asset.
Right. So, with all, this with owning everything, like how do you wind up like staying like grounded? Because there is still a lot, there's still a lot owning your own business to be worried about.
You know, I have practiced, I guess, with time and with years
Hmm.
being grounded. I don't even know if I'm grounded. I don't know if I'm grounded at all anytime. But like being a high achiever, I many times believe I haven't done enough. And
Oh,
I
okay.
am learning to know that a full day is enough. And if we've accomplished, three things or two things
I
of the
agree.
10 things we wanted to accomplish,
Three's like my rule of thumb.
that's big. Because I
Right.
wake up with a checklist of 10 things, which is unreasonable, and I'm
Right.
going to attack everything. And then I go and I look and I only did three, and listen to my language. I only did three. No, I did three. And I'm
Yes.
practicing that to know that I am,
Hmm.
and to be proud of me that,
Hmm.
wow, like I've built this, I am doing this, and I'm doing a lot
Oh yeah,
in
you
in
are.
a in and building something fabulous. So celebrate a little bit as opposed to running to the next thing and saying I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough. I'm
Right.
practicing telling myself that that's
Like,
okay.
did you ever, throughout owning your own company, work with like any consultant or coach or anything? Or did you have like a mentor?
Well, yes, I had mentors
Hmm.
that well, the first thing I did was meet with a lot of people, learn from a lot of people, and
Okay.
gather information on like, how should I be doing this? How should I be
Right.
doing that?
Hmm.
So I wouldn't say that they were my mentors, but I was gathering best practices. That's how I started.
Okay. Hmm.
Then I began kind of picking the people that I wanted to have like deeper relationships with,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
hoping that it was reciprocal because I can't just decide, oh, I'm going to have a deep relationship
Right.
with you. And what if if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And then I started surrounding myself with ladies that were like me and wanted to build businesses, like not the same business but had the similar mindsets. And then
Right.
and I also, Beth, perfect example. I mean,
Hmm.
she is a friend, but she is a mentor. I mean, look at what she's done. And so you take all of the ladies that we've surrounded where we can, you know
Hmm.
five of us can go out to dinner and all we'll talk about is business and exchange ideas and do things. So I did that too. And then I've done business courses, business coaches, and different things like that along the way as well.
Did you find that helpful
Yes,
using the coaches and everything?
I believe that it's helpful. Different people for different seasons, but I
Exactly.
believe that absolutely it has been
And different specialties
helpful,
too.
and different
Yeah.
specialties.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I agree. You got to invest in yourself, like Beth says, right?
you have to invest in yourself. Absolutely.
How did you meet Beth? I don't remember.
Oh my. So I used to go to ICSC.
That's why. Okay. I knew you knew her a long
So
time. I
I
didn't
knew
know.
Beth. She
Okay.
didn't know me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we were friends, but it was a one-way
Yeah.
relationship because I would see
Mhm.
her on the ICSC
Yeah.
stages.
Yeah.
So, I would see her in Vegas. I would see her in the Orlando show. But in 2019, when I, stepped back and said, okay, how am I going to
Hmm.
curate the people that I need to meet, talk to, have, figure out what I'm going to do? There's a gentleman named Gabe.
Okay.
I'm sure you know who he is, Gabe Gonzalez.
Hmm.
And I had lunch with him, and I told him my Beth story on how I saw her on a stage, and I said, she's on my list to connect. He's like, what? He picked up his phone, he texted her, and he's like, oh, I'm here with Natasha. She wants to meet you, and you know
That
her.
was it. Yep.
3 days later, I was in her office. We met again. I
Yeah.
said, like, I know you.
Yeah.
And then from there, we just, became the best of friends.
Yes.
She
And
has
I
been
think
my
what,
greatest supporter.
oh, she's same with me. I mean, and so many women. I mean, she's a blessing to so many.
Yes.
And she just has such, no matter how busy she is, you wouldn't even know because she gives her time
It
to so
it's
many.
incredible.
It's truly incredible. And even
It's
with her women's and investment summit that she
mhm,
does, you and I were just there last week. What's really cool about our summit, and Natasha is, I'd like to give a plug for you because I mean, you all, on Fridays do the bus tour. So we have,
mhm.
the regular conference, obviously with speakers and the networking and dinners and all that. But the last day you can sign up, if this is optional, if you want, is to go look at all the properties that Beth, because it's in South Florida. Obviously, Natasha has her multifamily assets, Beth has her commercial assets, and you all go look at them and talk more in depth. And the women can ask you questions about them and um, do what do what you did for networking. You had to jump around where this is all like 1 2 hour, what is it, 2 3 hours, I think,
Yeah,
slot where you can
it's
ask as many
fabulous.
questions as you
Like
want and learn a ton.
40 people on the bus
Right.
for, 3 hours,
Yeah.
about 3 or 4 hours, where Beth is telling stories about all of the things that happened to get these assets that you're going to go look
Mhm.
at where they are.
Right.
And then we finish the bus tour at one of my multifamily properties where they get to see, they see the pictures of what it looked like before, they see the transformation.
Right.
And if we have a vacancy, they get to go into one of the units and actually see what we're trying to do for the community. And then we give
Right.
them a little Cuban coffee and some pastelitos, and
Right.
so they
Exactly.
can get the full vibe.
Exactly. um so before we wrap up, what's like the one lesson that you had to learn the hard way that you now live by?
Don't wait.
Okay.
Take the risk because you know more than you give yourself credit for. You have more experience than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah, I love that. I agree. I think a lot of women, we underestimate ourselves and we don't take the risks that we should. And I think that's a reason why people stay stuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's great words of wisdom. Any last words?
Well, first, thank you for this conversation.
You're
I
welcome.
love everything we discussed, and
Yeah.
I hope that our conversation will encourage
Hmm.
others to go out,
Yes.
start investing,
Hmm.
ask questions, get involved,
Yeah.
and start creating that generational wealth for yourself. And if we impacted one person today, it would make me super
I agree.
happy.
I agree. Hopefully, this is inspirational. You've learned a lot. And I obviously, everyone knows where they can contact me, but how can people connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram a lot, and
You
it's
are.
Nat Falconi. And please, check me out and go see. You can learn a lot about what I do and what I do day to day there. But most importantly, I have this like 5-step PDF that I can share with your audience. So if they DM me on Instagram, I'd be happy to send it over to them, which basically is like 5 things to consider and like a flow of what to consider when you're going to start investing in real estate.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even know you did that. That's really cool. So it's Nat, NatFalconi,
That's right.
right? Nat
Yeah.
Falcone on Instagram. Um, and then where else?
I'm on Nat Falcone on Instagram, Nat Falcone on Twitter,
Okay.
Nat Falcone on LinkedIn. Pretty much. That's
Okay.
Natasha Falconi everywhere.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, thank you for coming on. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
And I commend you because, like I said before, you're one of the few women I know who, are GP of multiple multifamily assets. I think I can only count 3 on my hand that I know. And
Yeah.
of course, I met him through Beth's Azor
Right.
event from being there. But I want to thank everyone for listening to another episode of the Tori Nook Talk Show. And you can catch all the new episodes across all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, my YouTube channel at Tori Nook every Tuesday. And I'd love to hear from you. So please, reach out, DM me. If you don't want to miss, please download, rate us, give us a great review. Feel free to send me a note anytime at torynook@gmail.com. And see you next week.